right now, once again, Senior Minister of State, Sim Ann. Thank you.
Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Teo Chee Hean, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to the 10th edition of the Singapore International Energy Week, or SIEW. The theme for SIEW 2017 is Rethinking Energy, Navigating Change. As we celebrate this milestone for SIEW, it is timely to reflect on our energy journey over the last decade since SIEW began and discuss how we can jointly navigate the opportunities and challenges in the decade ahead. The present energy landscape has been shaped by several trends. Firstly, oil prices have become more volatile. In 2008, when SIEW was first held, oil prices peaked at around $150 per barrel. However, oil prices have declined sharply in recent years due to an oversupplied oil and gas market, and only recently started to recover. At the same time, the shale gas boom revolutionized global gas markets and brought about the golden age of gas, with global liquefied natural gas, or LNG, volumes growing more than 50% from 2008 to 2016. In recent years, the drive towards renewable energy has also gained momentum, especially after the 2011 Fukushima accident and the entry into force of the Paris Agreement in 2016. In particular, solar and wind energy capacity have grown rapidly. For instance, global cumulative solar photovoltaic, or PV, installed capacity grew more than sevenfold from 2010 to 2016, from 40 gigawatt in 2010 to nearly 300 gigawatt in 2016. Today, greater digitalization and disruptive technologies are further changing the way we generate, distribute, store, and use energy. Against this dynamic and fast-changing energy landscape, the Singapore Energy Market Authority, or EMA, has introduced a number of initiatives to improve the economic competitiveness, security, and environmental sustainability of Singapore's energy supply. Let me list a few examples here. First, to diversify our energy supplies, we built an LNG terminal on Jurong Island that began operations in May 2013. This has enabled us to source for our natural gas supplies globally, in addition to our piped natural gas supply from Indonesia and Malaysia. Second, to facilitate greater adoption of renewable energy, we have been working to facilitate the adoption of solar PVs, which is currently the most viable renewable energy option for Singapore. Our efforts have contributed to a sharp growth in solar adoption to reach around 140 megawatt peak in the third quarter of 2017, up from just 0.4 megawatt peak in 2008. Third, to build up a strong talent pipeline for the power sector and help our workers develop the deep skills for future industry needs, EMA has also been actively working with various stakeholders, such as industry, the Union for Power and Gas Employees, and educational institutions on training courses, scholarships, Skills Future Study Awards for the power sector, and various outreach programs. Going forward, the global and Asian energy landscape is likely to remain dynamic and filled with uncertainties. What remains clear is our long-term goal: to build on our achievements and develop an energy system that is even more secure, competitive, and sustainable. With that end outcome in mind, we should be nimble and ready to adapt to changes and new trends. Today, I shall highlight some examples of how Singapore will continue to do this when making policies, harnessing technologies, and fostering a pro-innovation regulatory environment. One of our key energy policy thrusts is the promotion of a competitive market. Since 2001, we have progressively liberalized our retail electricity market to encourage greater efficiency and innovation. Our goal is to provide the remaining 1.4 million accounts, mainly households, with the power to choose an electricity price plan from different retailers that best meets their needs. We have called this the Open Electricity Market Campaign, and as announced by the Minister for Industry, Mr. S. Iswaran, last Friday, we will implement a soft launch for consumers in Jurong in April 2018 to gather feedback and fine-tune processes before extending it to the rest of Singapore in the second half of 2018. Apart from promoting competitive markets, we are also investing in technologies to meet our energy objectives, particularly through the use of info communications technology, or ICT, to build a smarter grid. This is in line with Singapore's goal to be a smart nation. Let me highlight 3 initiatives through which we are doing this. First, we are working towards enabling integrated remote metering of electricity, water, and town gas meters to make timely information on utilities consumption available. I am pleased to share that EMA, PUB, and SP Group have selected 4 companies to further develop and test bid their technical solutions to remotely read smart meters. A 6-month trial will then be conducted in the second half of 2018 to test these smart metering solutions in real-life environments. As part of this effort, SP Group will develop a mobile application to provide consumers with information on their consumption for all 3 utilities in a simple and engaging manner. This will enable consumers to better manage their consumption and expenditure while doing their part for the environment. Second, EMA continues to explore technological solutions that will better integrate intermittent generation sources, such as solar, into our grid to reduce our carbon footprint. EMA will be working with the Meteorological Service Singapore and a consortium led by the National University of Singapore to develop a solar forecasting model customized to Singapore's tropical weather conditions. This will help better manage fluctuations in solar output to ensure grid reliability. EMA and SP Group also jointly launched a request for proposal for an energy storage system, or ESS, test bid last year to evaluate the performance of different ESS technologies under Singapore's hot, humid, and highly urbanized operating environment. The RFP drew competitive bids from more than 10 international consortiums from the US, Europe, and Asia. Today, I'm pleased to congratulate 2 consortiums led by our local companies, Red Dot Power and SIEW Group, who have won the RFP. Together, they will put in place 4.4 megawatt-hour of grid storage solutions in 2 substation locations. Insights gained from the test bid would help develop standards and policies to facilitate the deployment of large-scale ESS in Singapore. Third, the Singapore Institute of Technology, or SIT, and SP Group will be signing a Memorandum of Understanding today to build Singapore's first experimental urban microgrid, which will be housed in SIT's future campus at Punggol Digital District. The microgrid, which can be connected and disconnected from the grid as required, will be a national infrastructure that is open to the research community and businesses in Singapore. This platform will allow new technologies and solutions to be tested in a controlled environment, while providing power engineering students the opportunity to work with industry partners and energy startups. As we invest in technological innovations, our regulatory environment will also need to keep pace with changes and be forward-looking to facilitate the deployment of new technologies and business models. To that end, EMA continues to proactively streamline its regulations to ensure that they support business innovation. For instance, earlier this year, EMA streamlined the registration process for consumers generating solar electricity for self-consumption. Businesses such as Changi Airport Group and SATS Limited will benefit from this new scheme. EMA will also be enhancing the existing Central Intermediary Scheme to make it easier for solar adopters to receive payments for selling excess solar energy into the power grid. The final determination paper with more details on the enhanced scheme will be released today. While reviewing and updating rules are important, they take time, and sometimes it is more useful for businesses to have the chance to experiment quickly with promising innovations. With that in mind, EMA launched a consultation paper in June this year on a regulatory sandbox framework for the electricity and gas sectors. The framework allows regulations to be relaxed within defined parameters in a sandbox that can accommodate new products and services for testing. It will also allow EMA to assess the impact of new products and services before deciding on the wider regulatory treatment. Based on the useful feedback received, EMA has finalized the framework and it will be implemented from today. We welcome businesses to use the framework and co-create the future of energy with us. There is already some interest from the industry with potential projects during the consultation phase, and we look forward to developing them into trials within the regulatory sandbox framework. Looking beyond our borders, international cooperation remains key to meeting challenges that are global in nature, from enhancing security to combating climate change. Singapore has been active in fostering greater cooperation among countries and international organizations. For instance, Minister Iswaran announced at SIEW last year that Singapore has become an association country to the International Energy Agency, or IEA. A key initiative from our collaboration is the Singapore IEA Forum, which will be held for the first time tomorrow. The focus is on energy investments in Asia, a topic of keen interest to the region. To set the stage for the discussions, the IEA will be launching the 3rd edition of the IEA Southeast Asia Energy Outlook. Looking ahead to 2018, I am pleased to announce that Singapore will work with the IEA to host a training program focused on energy investments as a follow-up to the discussions at the Singapore IEA Forum. Next year, Singapore will chair the 36th ASEAN Ministers on Energy meeting, or AMEM, which will be held together with SIEW in October 2018. This will give ASEAN more opportunities to strengthen its engagement with global energy players to work together to provide energy solutions for the region. I'm happy to note that there has been good progress under the ASEAN Plan of Action on Energy Cooperation, and Singapore looks forward to working with our ASEAN neighbours, dialogue partners and international organizations on further initiatives to foster a resilient and sustainable energy community for the region. All the efforts described so far would not have been possible without the dedication and hard work of our people and organizations in the energy sector, which have contributed to making our energy system better over the years. The Singapore Energy Award, or SEA, recognizes individuals and organizations across the public and private sectors for their significant contributions to Singapore's energy sector in areas such as leadership, innovation, and capability development. This year, I am pleased to announce 2 winners. Mr. Tang Kin Fei, former Group President and CEO of Sembcorp Industries, and Professor Ng Woon Zhen, a professor in Nanyang Technological University's School of Civil and Environmental Engineering and former Executive Director at the Nanyang Environment and Water Research Institute, or NURI. Both individuals stood out for their strong and sustained contributions to the local energy sector and the wider society. Mr. Tang will be conferred the Singapore Energy Award for contributions to the energy sector for his visionary and exemplary leadership of Sembcorp's power and utilities business, as well as having the foresight to push for new technologies and developing manpower for the local energy sector. Under Mr. Tang's leadership, Sembcorp has contributed to the largest sector by opening up their cogen plant for learning journeys for students and sponsored an energy competition that has reached more than 400 students over the last 3 years. They have also opened up their facilities for R&D and test bidding. Professor Ng will receive the Singapore Energy Award for Innovation for his pioneering efforts in the waste-to-energy sphere, as well as the pivotal role he played in translating research into real applications during his 10-year tenure as NURI's Executive Director. Once again, congratulations to the award winners. In conclusion, building a competitive, secure, and sustainable energy supply remains a key priority for Singapore. To this end, we will continue to position ourselves as a hub for innovations and business opportunities, deepen our collaboration with global energy players, as well as empower and inspire our consumers to better manage their energy use. We must also continue to embrace new technologies, encourage innovation, and catalyze capability building. I hope that throughout this week, you will benefit from the active exchanges of views with various energy professionals, policymakers, and industry players, learn from each other's experiences, and generate solutions to forge a sustainable energy future. Thank you once again for joining us at SIEW, and I wish you all a fruitful week ahead.
Thank you, Senior Minister of State. Thank you very much, ma'am.